and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. How are you all? Are you all having a lovely week? Today I thought I would film a May currently reading. So I try and check in at various points during the month, as well as doing a wrap up, because sometimes I feel like your thoughts about a book are different when you're reading them as to when you have finished. And also I don't always finish all the books I start, and I haven't been mentioning those books in my wrap-ups because I just haven't had time to mention the DNF books. I don't think any of these books are going to be DNFs. But I am also planning, just as an aside, I'm also planning in June to do a video about all the books that I have not finished the first half of the year, which at the moment stands at 6 or 7, I can't quite remember. But anyway, Minnie's coming down. Do you guys want to see Minnie? She's had her haircut. Minnie! Are you a nice girl? Nice. Bye. She's had her haircut and she's looking super cute, and she's also like leaping around like you wouldn't believe. She's just so happy nowadays. Now she's had her haircut. Aren't you, Poo Poo? Anyway, let's get on to the books that I'm currently reading. So at the moment I'm currently listening to the audiobook of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is narrated by Anna Massey, who is doing a fantastic job. As you may well know, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier is one of my favourite books of all time. And I really was thrilled when I discovered Daphne du Maurier, not last year but the year before. And Rebecca was my favourite book of 2016, and possibly like one of, well, it definitely is one of my favourite books of all time, which is lovely. Just going to check in Minnie because she's biting a wire. No, she's not. She's just sniffing a wire. I was very assuming. But I am loving the audiobook because I've been away from it for quite a long time. We watched the film of Rebecca last January. It was when we went to visit Simon and Chris, and really enjoyed the film. But apart from that, I've been very much away from the story. I remember the bare bones of the story and what happens. What I loved about Rebecca was the description and the atmosphere and everything like that. So to rediscover the story and listen to the description and the atmosphere as opposed to read it has been a real treat. And I can only thank Ollie Bliss for recommending the audiobook to me, because I'm really enjoying it, and I would urge people to go to it. Even if you've read Rebecca, I feel like the audiobook is another like layer of enjoyment for you, because it's really great. I'm about halfway through now, and just loving everything about it. Like when I was reading it, before they get to Manderley, and I won't ruin the story because I didn't know the story when I got there, but before Manderley is the estate that the book is set, but before they get to Manderley, I remember reading that part quite quickly and thinking, oh, it was like a chapter before they got to Manderley, but it's not. There's quite a lot of sort of like prelude before they get there, so it was nice to be able to re-enjoy that. But that is the audiobook that I'm listening to at the moment, and I really am enjoying it. Now I'm reading 3 books. The first one is The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill. This is a feminist retelling of the Little Mermaid story, and I'm very much enjoying it. I really like Louise O'Neill. I have already talked about how much I adored Almost Love this year, which is her first adult book. This is back to YA and retelling the story of The Little Mermaid, which, due to me being brought up on Disney films and things like that, the Disney version is very much at the forefront of my mind. This is based, I would say, more upon the Hans Christian Andersen version of the story, and has much darker aspects to it, more so than Ursula from The Little Mermaid, the sort of sea witch from there. I've only just got to the part where she has been granted 2 legs, and I'm about, well, I am like exactly halfway through, so there's much more to come. But I really like the way she sort of fed in sort of feminist aspects to it, and the way that the mermaids are treated by the mermen, and particularly the way that the daughters are treated by the mer king. I really like the fact that it's set in the Irish Sea as well, so again there's a lot of like Irish connotations to this, which is just something I love reading. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'll be honest, it took me a couple of chapters to get into it. To begin with I was a bit like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but now I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, very much enjoying it. So looking forward to seeing what happens now, especially as I'm not so familiar with the Hans Christian Andersen tale, that this could end up having a different ending to the ending that I'm used to. So interested to see how that pans out. But yeah, really lovely proof as well. Look. Little Mermaid song. David, do you want to sing one?
Under the sea, under the sea,
etc. The next book I'm reading is the book that I'm reading for my online book club at the moment, and that is Look What You Made Me Do, a memoir by Helen Wormersley Johnson. This is the story of Helen. It is her memoir where she's talking about how she has been at on the receiving end of 2 abusive relationships with men, and one which she isn't sort of like mentioned much in the blurb, but she is definitely at the hands of a sort of very coercive relationship with her boss at work as well, who is a female character, not romantically involved. So yeah, it's troubling to read the situations that Helen is in and hear the correspondence between herself and Frank, who is sort of the main abuser that is addressed in this book. Myself, not having been in a situation as severe as Helen's, I feel so frustrated when I'm reading it, because I just feel like, I'm just like, oh Helen, why do you keep doing this to yourself? And she keeps putting herself in awful situations, and it's very frustrating, it's very troubling to read. However, I don't doubt that this is extremely important. What Helen's message is that she was listening to The Archers, which is a radio play which is run on Radio 4. I've been listening for about 18 months now. I'm very fond of The Archers, and it's been going on for, it's years, isn't it, David? It's about 60 or 70 years, I think, The Archers has been running for. And a few years ago there was a storyline in which Helen, not this Helen, another Helen, she'd been quite unlucky in love and things like that, and she met a man called Rob, who seemed to be outwardly God's gift. Outwardly it looked like he treated her well and he looked after her and things like this, but what was going on inside their relationship was that it was very, very coercive and controlling, and Rob was abusing her. And Helen Wormersley Johnson was listening to that radio play storyline, and it sort of gave her the boost or the confidence to be able to tell her story. So I feel like in this, she's hoping that she will be able to give somebody the boost to be able to get out of an abusive relationship or a coercive relationship in the way that she was boosted by the Archer storyline. I'm about halfway through this. Halfway through 3 books including Rebecca, and yeah, I mean, enjoying is always a really, really tough word to use when you're describing books that are about horrific content and horrific situations, but I really feel like she's getting the message across. And also, what I think, she's very self-deprecating. She doesn't sort of like explain or try and excuse her behaviour. She's very much like, I had been in a controlling and coercive and abusive relationship with my first husband, so that's why she was able to just sort of fall into this situation with this second man, Frank, who, as I said, is the sort of the main focus of this memoir. And yeah, so I always struggle to say, like, what do you say when you mean that, like, this is, it's compelling for me. Like, you don't want to say you're enjoying it, because sometimes I'm like, oh God, please, no, Helen, don't. But yeah, it's definitely compelling for me, and interesting, and important. So yeah, that is Look What You Made Me Do, a memoir by Helen Wormersley Johnson. And then the last book I'm reading is one that we all well know. This is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. This is the illustrated edition. David's mum for the past 2 years has bought me these when this came out. So this came out in 2016, and then in October, because they get them out in time for Christmas. And then Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, oh, I just felt like my elbow dislocated then. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban came out last year. I always like to reread the Harry Potter series every year, and what I've been doing in recent years is I've been rereading what I've got in terms of the illustrated editions, and then going on to audiobooks for the rest of the series. So this year I've already read The Philosopher's Stone, now I'll read Chamber of Secrets, and then I'll go on to Prisoner of Azkaban, and then I'll listen to the rest on audiobook, which is also linking in quite well with something that I've been unintentionally doing, of rereading by listening on Audible to my favourite books of all time. So earlier this year I listened to Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. That is one of my favourite books of all time, which I read in 2016 and adored, maybe 2015 actually. and adored. And then at the moment I'm listening to Rebecca, which is another one of my favourite books of all time, and Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is my favourite book in the Harry Potter series, is one that I'll be listening to, re-listening this time, because I listen to it all the time. But yeah, so just very much enjoying Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. What I always like to do, I don't flick through these, so I only enjoy the artwork as I'm reading the story, which is really nice. Let's see where I am. Oh, I was going to say, let me show you where I am, but I'm on a double page with no pictures, so I can't show you. But it's just a little treat to myself, and just so that it doesn't become older to me, but it is becoming familiar, because I've now read, this will be my second time of reading this, and it was actually my third time of rereading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in the illustrated edition. So yeah, it's just nice to sort of be reminded of these things. So yeah, that is lovely. So what are you guys reading at the moment? Would love to hear what books that you have got on the go. I'm very much enjoying all of these so far, doing very well, having a lovely month. As I said, I was trying to slow down with my reading a bit in May and read some bigger books. I've not read any bigger books, but I have been slowing down with my reading, which has been quite nice. Been taking a bit more time with stuff. But yeah, would love to hear what you guys are reading. Would love to hear if you've read any of these books, and I will see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!